Here we go again.
No, not again.
You've been fooled.
How long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the
Again, until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales is the fifth installment in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. It stars, as usual, Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, Jeffrey Rush as Captain Barbossa, and the new bad guy, Javier Bardem, as Captain Salazar, as well as a host of others. And this time around, it's the story of William Turner's son, who is now all grown up from the third installment, is coming to try to break his father's curse, and so he must seek the Trident of Poseidon, which can break all curses. And to do that, he must enlist the help of Jack Sparrow. But of course, Jack Sparrow's got his own problems, and he's having to face some demons from his past, and he has some curses to break of his own. So this video review will contain spoilers of Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales, as well as a couple other films as well. There will be a full list in the description below. And if you haven't seen Dead Men Tell No Tales yet, or any of the films listed below, and want to wait until you have, stop the video at this point and come back later. Both these things in mind, though, let's begin. So as I said, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales is, the fifth film in the franchise, which started way back in 2003. It's amazing that we're still getting Pirates of the Caribbean movies this far away. And it's the story of the Trident of Poseidon is the new artifact that Captain Jack and the others must find in order to free themselves from another enemy, this time Captain Salazar, who leads an army of undead beings, which I'll have to tell you, it sounds very familiar for people who were known the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And Captain Salazar has some bad blood with Captain Jack Sparrow. And there's a scene in which these do a flashback which shows the bad blood between them. So Captain Salazar is out for Jack Sparrow, and he's also after the Trident of Poseidon, and therefore Jack Sparrow's after the Trident of Poseidon. And William Turner's son from the third film, he was just a little kid then, but now he's all grown up, and he's seeking another artifact, this time the Trident of Poseidon. And Jeffrey Rush's Captain Barbossa returns to the mix. He is still the captain of the Queen Anne's Revenge, which he took command of from Blackbeard after the end of the fourth film. And there's definitely some things in here that are very familiar to people who have seen the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. They do tread on old ground, but there's also some other things that this film is reminiscent of as well. So let's start with the obvious ones and go from there. First, in the general view, I would say that this film kind of follows the same sort of formula as Star Wars: The Force Awakens. What do I mean by that? Well, for those people who saw Star Wars: The Force Awakens, you know that it is very much a remake of Star Wars: New Hope, which is the first film in the franchise, and it almost follows the plot point for point, very much so in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, in Dead Men Tell No Tales, it's not quite as literal and to the point, but there are several aspects of this film that do draw from the first film of the franchise, The Curse of the Black Pearl, in which we have a Captain Jack Sparrow who is down on his luck. We find him, he is the captain of a ship that is barely seaworthy, a crew that has abandoned him, and he's trading away his possessions, and he's about to be executed at one point when he's on the island of St. Martin. And he's only saved through a series of events which propel him on his quest for the Trident of Poseidon. And also, this film features another Turner family member, this time the son of William Turner, instead of William Turner himself, seeking Jack Sparrow in jail when he needs to find an artifact in order to do something for someone he cares about. And Jack Sparrow must then be broken out of prison in order to move on his quest. And it also features an undead crew who has some bad blood with Captain Sparrow, and they're determined to stop him, and Captain Sparrow does not want to tangle with them, and he, as usual, finding his own means in order to neutralize this undead crew. And of course, this undead crew also has some bad blood in Captain Jack Sparrow's past. Just like in Curse of the Black Pearl, where the bad blood between Captain Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa happened, which we didn't see on screen, but we were able to divine that. So there's one example of where you might be able to see this film, in which the Star Wars Force Awakens, where it repeated the first film in the franchise, so too does Dead Men Tell No Tales. Next, and this is something that I did not expect going into this film. I did not know what I was going to get, but this stunned me. There's several instances in this film which bear a strong resemblance to the fifth film in the Fast and Furious franchise, named Fast Five. And in that film, but it's probably easier just to go point for point where this film kind of goes along. But mainly, the Pirates of the Caribbean opens up with Captain Jack in a bank vault in the Bank of St. Martin, and it's revealed a few seconds later that his crew is attempting to rob the St. Martin bank by pulling the safe out of the bank, and the safe, which was earlier described to be an imperial ton, but of course things don't go quite according to plan, and they end up pulling not only the safe but the entire building of the St. Martin Bank through the streets of St. Martin's capital city, and hilarious hijinks ensues. There's damage to property everywhere. And yeah, this would be very familiar for people who saw Fast Five, in which the climax of the movie involves two Dodge Chargers pulling a safe through the streets of Rio de Janeiro and using it as basically a battering ram to take out corrupt cops and taking it through another bank. And yeah, general property damage ensues. Though, of course, watching this, I couldn't help but notice that, yeah, in Fast Five, you're dragging a 10-ton safe with two souped-up Chargers, which probably make, I don't know, let's give the generous a doubt, probably 1,600 horsepower in between them. Yeah, in Pirates of the Caribbean, they're pulling an entire building along with a 1-ton safe with probably 10 horses. Yeah, this is a cartoon at this point, people. Also, this film also has a reveal of a family connection, which was not revealed earlier, but it has in the franchise, but we get to learn about it this time. In Pirates of the Caribbean's case, it's the revelation that Karina, who is the female protagonist throughout this film, she's a very smart woman. She's an astrologist, a horologist, and she helps decipher the map to the Trident of Poseidon, and it's revealed that she is Barbossa's daughter, illegitimate daughter, who he thought he gave up an orphanage, and she thought that her father was dead, not knowing who her father was. And we got to learn that family dynamic throughout the whole third act of the movie. Same thing goes for Fast Five, though a slightly different format, in which we learn that Brian and Mia are expecting a child. And there's a interesting family element that crops up in the movie and plays an important part throughout the rest of the film as well. Finally, both this Pirates of the Caribbean film and Fast Five share a "they're not dead" post-credit scene. Now, in Fast Five, the post-credit scene featured a Hobbs in his office being shown a file in which is included a photo of Michelle Rodriguez's character Letty, who was revealed to be dead in the previous film. But by the next film, she is revealed to be alive but lost her memory, and then that propels the events of the sixth film in the franchise. At the end of Pirates of the Caribbean, however, there's another post-credit scene in which we have Will Turner is on his island with Elizabeth. They're in bed, and it's revealed that during a stormy night, the door opens and we see brief glimpses of Davy Jones, who we believe to have been killed at the end of the third film, but Will wakes up and he thinks it's a dream because he doesn't see it, but of course the camera pans down and sees that some of Davy Jones's jewelry was left behind on the floor, so that opens up the possibility of Davy Jones returning in the sixth film in the franchise, if there is a sixth. There you have it. There's the main points of comparison between Pirates of the Caribbean and other films that have come before it. But on the whole, I would say it all boils down to, do I recommend this film to you? I would say if you've invested this much over the 14 years of seeing Pirates of the Caribbean films, knowing that after the first one they've gotten somewhat progressively worse as they've gone on, then I would say I would recommend seeing this, but go in with a note of caution, because while in my opinion, this film is much better than probably the third one would be the worst film of the franchise. It's still not nearly as good as the first one. It never will be, but it's not even as good as the second one. And even though people hate on the fourth one, I would say I kind of like the fourth one better than this new one. But on the whole, I would say there are some great moments in this film, some cool callbacks. The flashback scene with Javier Bardem's Captain Salazar features a de-aged Johnny Depp. It's not quite as jarring as the de-aged Carrie Fisher from Rogue One, so that's a good thing. It actually looks realistic. Kind of looks like Johnny Depp did when he was much younger. Think 21 Jump Street, his first television appearances there. But also there's some fun callbacks and Easter eggs, such as the original name of the Black Pearl theoretically was the Wicked Witch, as seen in the flashback, and people may know this as the name of the ship on the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Yes, we've gotten 5 films and 14 years out of a film franchise based on a theme park ride. Imagine that. So, I would say, if you're invested in this franchise, I would definitely say you've invested this much. But if this is your first Pirates of the Caribbean film, I can't imagine why it would be. But if it is, I would say, yeah, if you don't know all the cool little callbacks that they put in there, there's not a lot, but they're well worth it. I would say this film is probably not going to be a great film for you. I mean, there are some fun set pieces, there are some great action scenes, but it's really nothing that hasn't been done in other films and better in other Pirates of the Caribbean films as well. It's just kind of there. Though there are some great practical sets, practical ships, but overall it's just kind of average. And if you're looking for more than just average, then I can't say that this movie is going to be good for you. But nevertheless, if you've invested so much in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, if you've seen all the films prior to this, I would say go see it. It'll be worth the price of admission, and if you never see it again, that's probably fine. You've gotten your money's worth. So there you have it. There's my review for Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. It's always a pleasure doing this. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Look for the links down below if you go to my social media posts on Facebook and Twitter, as well as my written review for Pirates of the Caribbean. And look for next time for my review of Wonder Woman, coming out June 2nd. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and just remember that there's nothing new under the sun, and yes, you have seen it before. So thank you very much.